Hello everyone. We're starting at 2 o'clock. Punctual is only the Germans can do, but I'm just doing a quick audio check here. So if there's any trouble with the connection or the audio, it's better to find out before that, right? If you have a YouTube account, you can actually take part in our chat. And if you can give me a sign through our chat if the audio works or does not work, that would be great. But I also have a backup team. But welcome to our 10 career benefits for you that you will get from learning German. We are Fintiba Deutsch perfekt, and for this video we are cooperating in order to bring you those 10 career benefits that you've always wanted to know about. Who are we? So, Deutsch Perfekt is a language learning magazine that helps you improve your German. And my name is Julian. I'm an editor at that magazine, and I'm always very happy to do that job. I love my job and my team, and I guess from the presentation you will get now, you will see that it brings me a lot of input for our foreign readers, for learners of German, and great ideas, I hope. Fintiba ensures a seamless start in Germany for international students. But not only that, for anyone actually who wants to study or work in Germany, who is already there or planning on going there. They were founded in 2016, and by now they've supported internationals from more than 170 different countries. They have different things on offer in their portfolio, but one thing, for example, that especially in those days, nowadays, is quite important is their tailor-made online solution. They're offering you advice through their Fintiba app. So speaking about crazy times, I know it's all a bit difficult for all of us right now. Some of us are in lockdown, home quarantine, or just stuck at home, and especially in those times it's difficult to think about your future plans of going to Germany. But I hope with that video I can give you some prospect and some inspiration to keep on believing in that dream, and at the same time keep on studying German. The German language is so important for you to achieve your goals. At Deutsch Perfekt, we release a language learning magazine in print and digital version 14 times a year. And alongside that main product, we have little side products as our audio trainer, that is a CD and also a digital project, and our Plus workbook that offers you exercises to expand on certain language points, vocabulary, grammar, and other things. The whole package is really a good deal, and later in my video I will suggest to you to get a free copy of Deutsch Perfekt. We also have an app that's called Deutsch Perfekt Trainer. You can find that in the App Store and the Google Play Store, and we have our website where you have other things on offer, further information on our products, and some exercises and free text for you to read. What I'm more excited about actually is showing you our new magazine, the 4th issue of the year 2020, and you can see that on the left side. That's our main magazine. We're very proud of that, and we made it together with our workbook that you can see in the center of this picture, and just below that, Musik, you find our audio product that gives you better listening exercises. So that set of products you will get 14 times a year, for example, if you subscribe to Deutsch Perfekt. And those 2 other products that you see on the right side of the screen, they set more apart to that. So I guess they will stick in stores a bit longer than those issues of the magazine, and they are thick readers that offer you good load of information. One of them is Deutsch für den Beruf, German for your work life, and the other one is Deutschland verstehen, understanding Germany. So that is all the important life advice our service to you to have a better start in Germany and to deal with all the bureaucracy and all those other things that you have to deal with when you start abroad. But let's not stick around any longer. Let's start with our 10 career benefits you will gain from learning German. Number 1, build your support system. So just for a moment, leave all thoughts about career, jobs, or the technical aspects of stay abroad aside and think about what is really important for you in order to feel well in a new environment, and that is a support system. I just reach out to all of you at this moment. Please don't forget about those things, because friends and a good support system are so important for your personal well-being. Make friends in your German class. That is my first advice to you, and also the first reason why learning German is actually really good for your career. So whether that is in your German class in your home country, in a different country, or in Germany, it's really useful that over there you already meet people who have the same interest as you. They share the same plans as you, and in the future they just might go to Germany to study or work. So that might be the first step for you to building a network. And keep in mind, those friends are good for your personal relations. They might stick around for you forever, for your whole life, but they can also give you good job opportunities, a little advice here and there, because they know things that you don't know of. And quite likely, if you are studying German in your home country right now, your classmates might not go to the same city as you. But still, with modern technology, we can keep those relations, and finally you will end up in different cities in Germany, and that is a good network already. People can give you a hint at, oh, there's a job position opening right here, or how they have dealt with problems before that you are facing right now, and they can give you advice on that. Number 2. Now I want to talk about networking and making friends, but more specifically German friends. Of course, for your language progress, it's really important that you make contact to native speakers of the language, and joining a club is a good idea to do that. So what is joining a club actually? Not many foreigners think about that at first glance. When they want to go abroad, they might find a job context, an academic context, very important, and maybe their living surroundings. But what is very important to most Germans actually is their club, Verein. Germany has some 600,000 Vereine in their country. That's such a great number. Just think about that, and all the people who join a club, whether that is for sports, culture, playing an instrument, some curious interest they have. For every bloke, their own stroke. That's always what I say. And you might have a curious little kink in your mind of what might be interesting in Germany. You sure will find a club for that. There are 17,000 migrants in Germany who have joined clubs. So that big number already shows to you that it's a good opportunity for everyone to make new contacts. If you've learned German well, the whole range of option is there for you, because I cannot guarantee actually that many of those clubs function in English only, and German is a first threshold to get in, but then the club helps you to improve your German and you make new friends. Keep in mind that those contacts from the club can become good friends, but they can also become people who know about your job, your career objectives, or your academic objectives, and just at the right moment they might give you the good hint of applying there, or forward a contact to you to get to know someone who might be really important for your career. Number 3, expand your repertoire. So what I always tell my students is language learning is not only acquiring vocabulary, grammar, structures. is also intercultural learning. And soon in my classes, they will learn that meeting native speakers in their ways of interaction is quite essential for communication. And your intercultural ways will become your repertoire. What do I mean by that? Of course, you know how to be polite, and I'm sure you're quite a polite person. But do you know how to be polite in German? Maybe not. And maybe you don't expect German culture to be a very polite culture. But one of the pitfalls I always tell my students of thinking is, don't deem all Germans to be very direct. I know it's a great cliche, and in some ways it might be true that German culture and communication is more direct than your home culture. But in German class, you will soon learn that there are many ways of expressing yourself and addressing certain things that are not that direct, and those are the nuances of speaking a language. Of course, that's not exclusive to advanced learners. Also, beginners already learn to speak in a certain way, to express a wish, for example, in a polite way, when they are in a restaurant. So that's the first time they might learn a grammar that is called Konjunktiv 2. That grammar can be quite difficult once you advance to the more higher levels of German, but it's actually quite important, because with Konjunktiv 2 you can express a suggestion in your work field. You can ask for advice very politely in your academic context, and you can bring forward your ideas, request help, and just bring your own project forward. And that's what German language is good for. Another intercultural aspect is, viertens, develop a skill set. So German universities will require you to work in a very specific way. But before I get more into detail about that, let me tell you about the language barriers there are at German universities. So German universities are known for two things actually. That is, they are mostly free, aren't they? And that's a very good thing. Well, they don't have tuition fees as a great institution as other countries have, but there are certain universities that do have tuition fees, and to some groups they might have tuition fees. But for the great deal, the cliche is right about Germany that universities are free. Very nice. But then comes a problem for the foreigner who wants to get there. You have to study German. Yes, that's true. Most universities operate in German with many faculties for many subjects in the bachelor programs, for example, but also for the greater share of the master programs still. So if you're following the news about German universities lately, of course they're boasting about, oh wow, we are becoming more and more international, and now there are more and more master programs offered in English. It's still very little. You know, if they make such a big news about that, it's actually because Germany is quite behind compared to other northern European countries when it comes to offering programs in English. And there's even a good deal of PhD programs that are still exclusively in German. And the people there, the researchers there, publish in the German language. So we see German is still a very strong academic language and a language to publish your research papers in. But what skill set does it require to you? Aside from the language, to be a student at a German university, well, German universities require the students to work very independently. That is because they don't offer you input, feedback on a very regular basis. There might be longer terms where you're left more or less on your own to push forward your own project, and that way of working is a challenge to all young students, actually, not only foreign students, but also German students. But in return, you will gain something very valuable, and that is a skill set of how to work in a German university that also looks good on your CV. Those are the soft skills that will also bring you to good positions when you apply for a job. Nummer 5. Stack up languages, and by that I do not mean German only. More so, I tell you, German will be just the beginning. So all languages look good on your CV, and I can just imagine that most of you speak the national language of your country, maybe even a regional dialect, and very good English. So just put German on top of that, and you already have a good package to build upon. So that's why I'm telling you, stack up languages. I'm speaking German, Dutch, English, French, Italian, Spanish, maybe a little bit of Portuguese and Mandarin Chinese, and all of those languages have brought me very nice friends, people I stay in touch with, and great career opportunities. But it wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't started maybe with the first set of them. And learning German will give you insight into a very special language, a language that is maybe difficult at higher levels to master, but also, and usually that is the case, it makes people be a fan of that language and be proud of themselves to have mastered that language. They have achieved insight into structures that are very specific. German grammar can be special, and in those ways, those people are becoming more versatile. This is why learning German will make it easier for you to learn further languages, and can be a good gain for your career. All of those languages in the end look good on your CV, don't they? Nummer 6. Go for that green light. And now we're talking about two difficult topics. I know it's a bugger: German bureaucracy and immigration. Well, immigration is not the topic that everyone feels comfortable in. I know that. And there was a long time that also I felt a bit uncomfortable talking about immigration laws in Germany. And that was for the most part because Germany did not have an immigration law. But just imagine that they've made great progress lately, and just this year, 2020, March 1st, there's a new law, the immigration law of Germany. And what does that mean? Well, first off, it means that Germany as a country commits to its identity as an immigration country, something that had been long overdue, hasn't it? And within that law, they have designed more ways to enter Germany easily. What kind of lack is there for the German labor market that maybe a foreign workforce can help out with, and it can be a win-win for all sides. So I don't want to give you the ins and outs of that law, but actually they have identified certain job groups that have easy access to the country, and they have in general made it easier for non-European Union citizens to get here. But one thing that really remains throughout all that is the language barrier. There are different levels of German that you can achieve, and Germany sticks to the European reference framework in that. It means beginner level is A1, then there is A2. An intermediate level is B1, and that's usually the first level that gets you further in your paperwork for Germany. And then there's B2, the language level that you need for work mostly. And the language level C1 is usually needed for academic studies in German. So what I want to tell you, I know bureaucracy is a bugger, and you might need some time sorting out about how do I get to Germany as a student or as a working professional. But if you're well educated, you might have a greater chance, even now with the new immigration law, to get to Germany, and there are more ways and more standardized ways for you. But the green light you will get is usually your language skill. So just provide a good German certificate and you will get that green light. For further information on that German immigration law, I put down a link in the video description. Make It in Germany is the website of the German government, and they offer more assistance on several things, and you can even do like a quick look survey. Am I one of those experts that actually benefit from the new law? And if I'm not, are there still ways how I can get to Germany, and what paperwork do I need to provide for that? 7. So next up, I want to talk more about job. In the end, this is what we might want to go to Germany for, but I want you to never forget it's about your career and about your own benefit that you should get from going to Germany. So when I've researched more about the companies that actually have a shortage of workforce, they lack certain skilled labor and might benefit greatly from migrants. Those are the small to medium-sized companies. Who would have expected that, right? Because you usually think about the big names, Volkswagen, Siemens, or those international companies that also have offices in Germany, Google, Amazon. But then those great companies, of course, have many opportunities, but the even greater part of German economy, that is the small to medium-sized companies. They are a pillar of the German industry, if not the pillar of German economy. They are so important. So those companies need foreign labor and need skilled experts, and they will welcome you. You can be a big gain to those companies, you know that? Not only because of your background and your diversity, your further languages that you speak and might be able to bring into the company, but also because you have good training in your job, or you achieved a good education, and those small to medium-sized companies need those experts. The only thing they require, though, is usually that you speak German. Those are not the big names. This is not Google or Microsoft. They do not operate in English only. And even in those companies, Google Germany, Microsoft Germany, there are some teams that operate in German only. And in general, it's just a good signal to your employer that you've tried to learn German, isn't it? So while those small to medium-sized companies might offer you a great opportunity, you have also a lot to bring to them, and also they can take care of their employees well, because it's not too much of a big anonymous company. It's a smaller scale company. They work more within their local community, so you might get new contacts out of that. And all in all, the experience for foreigners working in those companies, from what I've heard, has been very good. Number 8. I want you and your great skills, plans, and future ideas to bring you to high positions in German companies. And that's what I'm telling all my students and foreigners who want to come here. Aim high and achieve great things. First off, that's because Germany needs you. And second, because you should not feel discouraged by bureaucracy and some barriers, language barriers, to achieve high. You will be a good student of learning the German language, I know that, but make sure that you never forget about your big dream. There are some foreigners who want to enter Germany as quickly as possible. Of course, you can do that. It's even easier for European Union citizens, but soon they will get in sort of a limbo stage where they've happened to land a restaurant job. They're waiting tables or they are babysitting, and they sustain a little life in Germany. They feel quite privileged of having made it to be in Germany, but then they don't achieve higher things. And usually with the stress that comes with those little side jobs, babysitting, waiting tables, they also lag behind in the German studies and don't proceed forward in that. So when there was a survey about companies that want foreign labor, they also asked them, what about non-European Union citizens? They need a bit more paperwork. Is it a hindrance? And those companies said, no, actually, what we like about many of those non-European citizens who apply for jobs here, they are well prepared, they have the paperwork, and they have a good level of German, usually. So as a European Union citizen, you have good ways of just grabbing your guitar and walking into Germany and trying to sustain a life here. You do not have to learn German then. You might be a good singer and can just survive by that. But as a non-European Union citizen, it's usually required for you to have a good level of German, but just know about that. It will get you further and you might not get stuck in that limbo stage. Number 9. So I know you all are diligent, you work hard for your dreams, for your academics and for your professional portfolio. I'm sure once you've passed your studies, you will be able to show a good CV to companies where you apply to. And by learning German, actually you can prove yourself worthy of a well-paid job and have your piece of cake. So what do I mean by having your piece of cake? Some of you might know it. That's more a term or a phrase you hear from feminist discourse, that when there is some structural discrimination, actually women or other discriminated groups should have their piece of cake, the things they merit, they deserve, right? And I think you deserve as well, because you've studied hard, and by learning German you show that. And I've wanted to know more about, so how far does learning German get foreigners in Germany? And a study has shown that foreigners who have achieved a good level of German get paid equal to Germans. So whether there are other factors playing out and there might be still some way of discrimination for one group or the other, I cannot discuss, not in this video at least, but I can tell you that having studied German is a good way to achieve a well-paid job. In a different survey, they looked at unemployment figures and wanted to analyze foreigners who have not found a job or are unemployed in Germany. And they also have looked at kids or grandchildren of migrants. That means people from families that have a migration history and where German might not be spoken in the family. So the unemployment statistic makes a divide between two groups, those who are more likely to get a job and those who are less likely to get a job, and that goes along the lines of language. So whether you are born here in Germany and a child of migrants, or you've come here to Germany, but in those cases, if your German is not good enough, you're more likely to be unemployed. The unemployment figures are not big in Germany. It's below the 3%, but they've shown that foreigners who have a good command of German are less likely to be unemployed. My last advice to you goes most likely to those that have found a job to Germany. So let's go to number 10. Make yourself be heard and seen. That was a slogan I had in mind from my students actually when I was looking for a concept of our CD. So as I told you, Deutsch Perfekt, the magazine comes with two products, that is an audio CD and a workbook, and that CD needed a topic, a theme, and I wanted to make it job related. So I remembered from my students, they tell me, in job context I feel shy, I feel like I cannot express my ideas and show my talent, I feel not heard and seen. And that's why I came to the concept of the CD, Ich bin da, I am here. And not only in that audio CD, but also in different textbooks, you can learn about how to promote your ideas, to share your suggestions with colleagues. You learn strategic language that will make you be part of the game more, be seen more, and perceived as an expert with your talents and your expertise. And I'm sure many students pursue the same thing for their German. They want strategic language, and more teachers cater for that. So if you're in a German class now, tell them what your wish is to achieve in Germany, and those teachers can offer you that content, and that language will be so good and valuable for your career. In the end, you can say Ich bin da, and more in German, of course, and more importantly, you will be heard and seen in your job sphere. So this is why German is important for your career. We've gone through those 10 reasons why you gain bigly by learning German, and I'm sure there are some questions. So if you have a YouTube account, you can type your question in the chat now. I have a colleague from Fintiba sitting in the chat collecting all the questions, and she might offer me a nice list where I can answer to. But before that, I wanna give you some advice what you can do next. All of the links that are stated here are written in the description of the video down below. You can find them there. So for more advice for international students, just go to fintiba.com. If you want free Deutsch Perfekt, there's a link for you in the description as well. They have a bundle offer. If you subscribe to that, you will get some free Deutsch Perfekt for you to have a first glance at what is that magazine actually about. In those crazy times, Fintiba has a very nice offer for international students. They have their Corona ticker, and they have a staying at home guidebook that also gives you nice advice. So if there's already a good deal of questions that has come up in the chat, I'm just looking for there's my colleague with the Fintiba account writing. Alright, I have some questions and they are just filing in. Wow. Alright, I think the first question that I see here, too many questions. How to find and get in contact with German people who are really interested to help me to practice speaking the German language at an A2 level. So at an A2 level, there is little option, to be honest, for you to take part in a club that is so much about a topic. I would say start with an instrument, music connects people, or start with a sports. But A2 is good enough to take part in that, and there will be people just out of the sportsmanship, sportswomanship. They will help you to be part of that team and to understand everything, all the instructions, or to be part of that band. Is it polite to ask my German friends to actively correct me? It's hard to get them to do that sometimes. Yeah, and I think you have to remind them more often. Like Germans do not want to interrupt you or want to hurt your feelings. Of course, they might not correct you all the time, but getting personal and direct feedback from a native speaker is very valuable. Actually, it can help you more than Many of the learning materials set up that you use for self-study, that person can help you in a great way, just interrupting you, and you can tell them you're fine with that. Just remind them from time to time, because I think they might just forget about that, and it is still polite to ask them, hey, please correct me, and also for feedback, am I making progress? They will be honest about that, and will want to help you along, right? So there's someone in the chat telling, I'm already working with my B1 German level, but I am having a hard time understanding the Steuer system. Is there a simple way to explain it? So Steuer means taxes. Oh yeah, and that's so difficult even for Germans to understand. I just go to an agent who gets all my paperwork together, and I know it's a little sum I have to pay for that, but even I as a German myself sometimes cannot deal with all that paperwork. Taxes is difficult, but from what I've heard, even that little sum I paid for that agent to find my papers already paid off through the tax returns, because those people usually have some tricks at hand to get you bigger tax returns. Can I communicate well in everyday language with Germans at the level B1, or do I still have to finish B2 level at least? So first off, you do not have to finish A level whatsoever in order to speak to people, but I know there might be a little barrier inside of you once, as long as you haven't mastered German, you might not dare to speak. Please do that. That a barrier needs to be gone at an A1, A2 level already, and it's more likely to be gone at a B1 level. So just dare speaking to people, and for my part, I know that with the simple structures and their set of vocabulary at the intermediate B1 level, my friends and my students can communicate well to me. They might have to speak slower, and the German native speaker has to accustom to that, but helpful people will of course play along. So what is the hardest part of learning German to you personally? Is it the declination, the articles, conjunctive? So that user is just a newbie at learning German. Oh wow, you know already a great deal of concepts that are on your way because you want to learn German, and with a good progression, none of these aspects is very difficult. What do I mean with progression? That is step-by-step learning, not leaping over essential grammar, which means that verb declination is a very essential part of that, and also the cases nominative, accusative, dative, genitive. They are quite essential, and a lot of grammar builds on that, and you will not get around that. There is more detailed grammar that puts a challenge to students, and that is on the B2 level. Various combinations of conjunctive 2 with passive, modal verb and passive, and so on. So that is the whole mix of those grammars. It puts a challenge to my students, I know that, and for the most part it does not hinder them to get the B2 certificate, because it's essential for reading, less for writing and speaking. Wow, there's a user writing in German. I'm just going to translate that in English. So that person has already reached the C1 level and has written applications, but there has been no success yet. Well, keep on doing. I mean, C1 is really good. Sooner or later there has to be a good result of that. So one question, is it true that most Germans switch to speaking English if foreigners try to converse with them because they see that you might have difficulties in using the language? It can be. And in that case, just make sure that you are fine with speaking a language that you have less skill in, not using English. We can always use English, but you want to use a language you have more difficulties in. And as long as the person still understands you, he or she should play along. From my personal experience, I've only seen that in Berlin, people switching to English immediately. That city has become very international. Okay, are there also nice apps that offer guidance through the text system? Oh yeah, Fintiba has some advice on that, because those apps are in English. Thank you for answering that question still. So now I see you've been very active in the chat. I thank you for that. Also for the nice feedback. If there are still questions that remain, I guess you can find a comment box down there and still drop that question there. Just at a later point, I will answer that question. I will be happy to help you out. And I just hope you gained a lot of insight and inspiration, a good drive for your German mission from this video. Thank you for tuning in, and bye.